Now, these days, it's becoming more common to see the keyword 국악, or traditional Korean music, in the K-pop scene. In May, Roa, a member of the idol group Kiras that debuted this year, became the first idol to appear on a 국악 program. Also, the beloved 국악 소녀 Song So-hee has transformed into a singer-songwriter, paving the way for a new future in K-pop. Now, crossing boundaries, no matter the field, is never an easy task, but the belief in wanting to share what I love with more people gives courage to those willing to cross those boundaries. Now, we've entered into an era where the public cheers them on. Hello, this is Culture Crunch's DJ Joel. Now, today on Creme de la Creme, we've invited someone to the studio who loves 국악 so much they've boldly crossed countless boundaries. Now, we're going to listen to a song before we meet her. This is Not a Dream by Song So-hee.
Like sea, like ocean.
If success is your goal, tune in to Creme de la Creme as we learn all the top secrets from those people in their respective fields. Now, today it is quite an honor for our guests that we have us joining here in the studio. We have Professor Jo Se-rin here in the studio with us today, actually the first foreigner to officially acquire the Gayageum Sanjo certification, which that is quite a big deal. So welcome. It is an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. Please look into the camera and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Jocelyn Clark. I'm originally from Juneau, Alaska. I came to Korea in 1992 across the street to the National Kugak Center. It's now called the National Kugak Center to study Gayageum. I was here off and on from 92 until 2008 when I got a position at Peije University as a professor. Since then, I've been studying Sanjo in Jeonju, and I'm the first foreigner to get the Isuja. It's a kind of a licensee in the National Treasure System. So before I was Chonsuja, then I became Isuja in May.
Okay, wow. So you have quite the history, being in Korea, but also, as a kugak performer as well. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of, dissect that a little bit from someone who actually is very, very knowledgeable on the topic. So, a lot of our viewers, they're coming in to watch our program or listen to our program to learn about Korean culture and, stuff like that. So for the viewers that maybe aren't so familiar with kugak, could you briefly explain what the Gayageum is?
The Gayageum is an instrument that was modeled on the Chinese zheng back in the 6th century when Gaya was a state. The king of Gaya commissioned one of his instrument makers to make that, and by the time he did that, Gaya was about to get annexed by Shilla. So one of the musicians that was playing this new instrument, Uruk, he took the instrument to Shilla and presented it to the king of Shilla, who didn't like the music. He said, "This is crap. This is crap. We don't like your country's music. It doesn't sound very Shillanese." So he got 3 of his musicians to rewrite the 12 pieces that Uruk had made into 5 pieces. They represented it to the king, and he said, "Oh, okay, this is great music," and that's why we have the Gayageum today. Of course, as I said, it was modeled on the Chinese zheng, and then from Shilla, it went to Japan, where it's called the shiragi koto, meaning shillagum instead of Gayageum. So they called it the shillagum. And actually, last year, they had an exhibition at the Shoso-in, where they keep all the treasures.
Oh, right.
For the first time in, I think, 20-something years, they have a 8th century Gayageum or shillagum there, and I really wanted to go see it, but my Isuja exam
priorities
took, which actually didn't happen on the day, but I had to give up my tickets for the exam.
Okay. Wow. So you got quite the history lesson. We just all got quite the history lesson. I'm looking here at the monitor, and there seems to be 2 different types of Gayageum here in the picture. What exactly are the 2 types here? Are they different?
These are the 2 types that were kind of mostly in existence when I first came to Korea in 1992. The top one is called a 정악 Gayageum, sometimes called court Gayageum. Okay. 법금 also. This is the instrument that went from Gaya to Shilla and Shilla to Japan. So the strings are almost double. The width of the space between the strings is almost double on the upper instrument than the lower instrument. The technique is quite different than the lower instrument, which is Sanjo Gayageum. And the upper instrument is made from one piece of wood. One piece of wood. The one on the bottom is glued together. So it's hollowed out from one. So it has a quite big sound. And it's used today for playing court music or pungnu. Court music, and also the aristocratic music called pungnu, like Buddha's sermon on Vulture Peak.
So that means that the top one is the 정아 가야금, right? The more traditional court folk music type.
Not folk music.
Or not folk, sorry. Court traditional
court music. For the king and for the upper aristocrat, for the yangbang class.
Okay. Oh, for the yangbang class.
Yes.
Okay.
Like yourself.
And the bottom. Oh, thank you. And the bottom one is the Sanjo 가야금.
Sanjo 가야금. Sanjo 가야금 developed with Sanjo. So Sanjo has about a 200-year history now.
Okay.
It developed in the late Joseon period, and it grew out of two sources. I mean, one of them would be solo shinawi music,
right?
The solos that come in between the, and then also pansori.
Right.
So, and you can see if you go look at other older instruments, the strings are farther apart. So over time, the strings get closer and closer and closer together as more and more women play, but also as the genre consolidates into a very virtuosic. So you can play faster. The closer the strings, the faster you can play. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So there is a big difference between the types. So what's really interesting, though, and we did briefly mention it earlier, was that back in March, you became the first foreigner to acquire the Gayageum Sanjo certification licensee, as you mentioned, the Isuja. And first of all, I want to say congratulations. That is a big deal.
It is for me too.
It is a huge deal, not just for yourself, of course it is, but also for Korean traditional music, the history of Korea also as well. Being recognized as the national intangible cultural heritage, it really is meaningful. So how did you really feel when you got this enormous honor and this enormous certification?
Well, I didn't think it was possible because it had been illegal for foreigners to get this certification.
It was.
And by foreigner here, we have to decide what we mean by foreigner because it's not a passport designation, it's a blood designation.
Right.
So, of course, there were many kyopo who are of Korean heritage who were able to get certified, especially in Japan.
Okay.
Also in pansori, also in Gayageum. Also, my teacher has students in Japan, so they got the certification early, but it wasn't possible for someone who was not of Korean heritage to get it. So, so I'm the first one I'm not the first foreigner, but I'm the first person of non-Korean heritage.
Non-Korean descent.
Non-Korean descent.
Wow.
To get the certification. And it had been not possible. So when I first got here, it was not even possible to join competitions.
Oh, it was straight up like against the rules. It was like illegal. Like you said illegal. I mean,
illegal in the sense that they couldn't process you.
Oh,
they couldn't process you, and if you won anything, they couldn't give you any money.
Right.
So I went through sort of opening up some of these competitions when I was younger, and then they opened it up so we could become 천수자, sort of a official disciple. But it was still not possible to get 이수자 because anyway, they opened it up about 2 years ago so that. So I never thought I could get this position, but when they opened it up, and I wasn't looking to get this position, but because everybody around me, all the other students got the position, I was like the last one that didn't have it. I decided to take the exam. So my first thing you have to do is you have to get approval from your teacher. Then you have to put in a lot of materials. The exam is kind of like a dissertation or like a PhD.
Oh, it's like graduating.
It's quite similar to the examination, oral exams to get the PhD. So we had to. In my case, we had to sit. 3 judges came from around the country, and then they say sit down and.
Oh, okay.
And then Sanjo, the genre I play is quite elastic in that it comes out of an improvisational genre. So you can. It's like Legos. You can add and subtract and add and subtract.
It's
built on
malleable, you could say.
Yeah. So you can play a 10-minute Sanjo, or our Sanjo is 72 minutes, something like that. So over 1 hour.
Wow.
And you had to prepare that for the exam, all memorized. And but then for the exam, they said, okay, you sit down and you play 30 minutes Sanjo with all the movements in it. So you kind of have to be able to put that together in your head, add and subtract on the fly. So do that, and then we have an oral exam in terms of like iron, the theory.
Oh, okay. Wow, so there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. But I'm curious though, like how long did you learn and how long did you prepare? Because I did understand that your Gayageum master was a very famous person indeed, who's 지성자 선생님, who was your master, the person that kind of mentored you and taught you a little bit. So how did you come to study under and how long did you learn this and prepare for this exam?
Well, I started studying Sanjo pretty much when I first got to Korea in '92. So across the street at the National Kugak Center, I started with Chongak, the court Gayageum, and then after about 6 months we started Sanjo. Of course, it's just beginning Sanjo, but it was still the Sanggeumyeon school of Sanjo.
Right.
Sanggeumyeon is my teacher, Ji-seongja's mother.
Okay.
She's the oldest daughter of Sanggeumyeon, and her dad is Chi Young-hee, who was the first national treasurer for Shinangwi, and her mom was the first national treasurer for Gayageum Sanjo.
Wow.
So also her sisters all play Sanjo and Gayageum as well. So there's a whole family of Gayageum Sanjo masters. So I studied at the Kugagwan. I studied first with Lee Ji-young, who's the professor at Seouldae now, and then Ji-eri. Studied Sanjo with her for about 8 years, and then I started studying with Ji-seongja. So I would say it took me 33 years to prepare.
33 years. We got 33 3 decades, over 3 decades of practicing and maybe waiting for the opportunity to be able to get that certification at some point, which you recently did.
And I also studied Pyeongchang. My Pyeongchang teacher also helped me with Sanjo, so that was Kang Eun-kyung.
Well, a lot of people kind of came together to give you the support that you needed because, as you mentioned earlier, foreigners were not certified to get the Isuja due to regulations, correct? So after the rules changed, though, you passed right away.
It was 33 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Right away.
33 years of time to get ready. That is quite a long preparation period. But I'd imagine, though, that it must have been really frustrating that the only reason you couldn't get it was because you didn't have Korean, heritage. So was that
I
it must have been
wasn't really frustrated. I wasn't ready the second it was possible to. Then I really had to buckle down and really get ready. And
put your nose to the grindstone. All right, let's do this.
I spent the whole. So we had the exam in the beginning of March, and so I spent the whole the 방학 day,
the
school
vacation
break time. So we had 10 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Just preparing for the exam.
Yeah, a busy winter.
Yeah.
But so after becoming an Isuja, I'd imagine that the next step is, of course, to become the Myeongin or the master.
This is still illegal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I kind of agree with that. I don't think that the next step is it's kind of colloquially called 주ninga 문화제. The preparing for the 문화제,
right?
For the intangible cultural asset. But the official title is the 전수 조교, which means you are the one in charge of taking care of the education of all the students that are in that circle or in that yupa. Right. So this is a really big job, and I think this is not a job for a foreigner. I think this is really a job for a Korean who studied since childhood, and I made it to Isuja, and I have no aspirations to go beyond that. And plus, it just wouldn't be right.
Okay. So you feel like personally that it wouldn't feel something that a foreigner should be able to do. But you have many years under your belt, and I really want to take a short listen to what you actually mean when you say Gayageum Sanjo. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this.
This very old recording.
Wow. So, I must say that, looking at this, it wasn't what I was expecting in the fact that, it's very quick. Because when I personally imagine a lot of people imagine.
So this was the end of the Sanjo. So after you play for 55 minutes, this part comes out. So this is a very condensed. This is something that I did for Arirang TV about 7 or 8 years ago.
Right.
So this is the end of the Sanjo when it starts to get exciting. The hun comes out. The han is over.
Yeah. But like I said, your fingers are moving really quickly. It's a very fast-paced song. But When you're playing like that, though, I'd imagine, especially when you're not used to something like that, that your fingers and your hands, they're very obviously active. Did it not hurt? Does it not hurt to do that for, whether you go for 60 minutes or 75 minutes? Like, it must not, doesn't it? Isn't it really difficult on your hands?
Well, when I first started studying 가야금 at the 국악원, I was like, they heard your teacher, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna practice really hard. So like, as soon as I started, I was like, okay, I'm playing, and at 5 minutes, your fingers start to bleed.
That's it. The heart is willing, but the fingers, they just.
I remember coming to one of my first lessons, and I had a big blood blister on my finger, and I was just like, okay, play, and I'm playing, and it popped on the 가야금, and the 가야금 was covered in blood, and she's like,
my God.
She's like, stop, and I'm like, no, I can keep going. She's just like, stop.
It's the flame, your love, your love.
I wanted to show I was a dedicated student, but I have to say that time doesn't last too long. I mean, you can't start gung ho, but
you get used to it.
You get 굳은 살다,
the calluses
on your fingers. So your fingers hurt when you don't practice because you lose your calluses. So you have to keep your calluses up. But otherwise, it's
pretty quick.
If you practice every day, your fingers keep the muscle and the calluses, and it's okay.
It becomes just like second nature. And you mentioned that you wanted to practice so hard the 가야금 that your blood blister popped on your 가야금. So it's obvious that you had a love for the 가야금.
At that time, actually, I could not understand what the 가야금 was
really?
about. I was interested in trying to show that I was a good student, but.
Well, how did you first come across it or fall in love with it? How did that happen?
Right. So I had started studying Japanese koto as a teenager. Our school was famous for ethnomusicology, which I didn't know what that was when I first got to our school.
Okay.
But they were trying to revive a koto program, a Japanese music program that had been really famous in the 1960s at our university, Wesleyan University. And there they were starting the koto program again, and I had just come back from being an exchange student in Japan as a high school student, or as a fifth-year high school student. There's a story in that, but I won't go into it. So I was interested in, I was just interested in practicing my Japanese. And the teacher that had come didn't speak any English, so I thought, okay, I'd take the koto class. And how the teacher got to Wesleyan was really the dream of her teacher, the Sawai school. And what they were dealing with in Japan in the 80s was that students were less and less interested in Japanese traditional music. And so their idea was to send their students and instruments over to America, to Europe, to Australia, to East Coast, to West Coast, and get Western kids interested in Japanese music, and then they bring them back and parade them around Japan and get the Japanese kids interested because the Western kids are really into it.
A foreigner's interested. Well, it seems like
I feel filtered dream with the wrong instrument.
Well, it seems like though, because you mentioned, if you look at the picture here, you were always interested in traditional instruments in general. Like that's kind of ingrained in you a little bit.
Well, it wasn't through traditional music that I got interested. The Sawai school is famous because Mr. Sawai was a composer. So he was playing a lot of contemporary music, and I got into the koto, which is the instrument all the way on the left.
So that's the
stage right.
The goto is on the left,
and
that's a 가야금 in the middle, I believe.
That's
right?
me.
Yeah, and then this is a
long time ago.
Right.
Can you recognize me?
And this is
This is guzheng.
Okay.
Chinese.
What is maybe a difference between these two? Because they all look somewhat similar, but with differences.
As I said, they all came from the zheng, but the zheng that we see here was actually designed by my teacher's father during the Cultural Revolution. So it's 21 string. The koto is more traditional, but they use tetram for the strings, and the 가야금 is still using silk strings. But the differences really lie in vibrato and how we stop the strings. Shall I give you a little demonstration?
Oh yes, please show us the charm.
I actually
what do you think about the
brought
charm
my instrument
of the
along.
가야금? Please show us the charm of the 가야금.
I can't hold the mic
fine.
when I play. Can you
that's
hear
okay.
me?
Yeah. We're just gonna sit here and we're gonna listen, appreciate the charms of the 가야금, the 매력 of the 가야금. All right. Ooh, this is gonna be so fun.
So the Chinese instrument
Yeah.
is famous flowing water.
Okay, so the Chinese instrument is famous for the flowing water.
Also, the vibrato technique is very fast, and Koreans don't like it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow, so I must say though. Oh, this is Chinese style. Okay, okay.
So Japanese vibrato is inverted.
Japanese vibrato is very inverted. Okay.
Instead of this.
Ah.
Also, you have this in Chonghak.
Okay. So in the traditional court music, they also have this as well.
But yeah,
Right. Can you do a demonstration of the Gayageum for us? Like, maybe a short piece of something. Yeah.
So alto those use picks and they ring out.
Okay, so use picks and ring out with the sound, right?
Gayageum stops each note before you play the next one. You only hear one note at a time.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh.
There's no harmony.
Oh. Ah, there's no harmonies. Okay, so I see what that. Okay, so I see.
You only hear one note at a time.
Right.
And there's no open strings.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, I get it.
Also,
Okay.
everything's designed to play in triple time.
Triple time. Oh, okay.
There's no.
Well, I do believe, like, you did a very good way of explaining this. So I do want to ask some more questions here. Please, pick up your mic because now that the Gayageum presentation is over. So you wrote a personal letter, though, when you wanted to learn letter to the director of the 국립국악원 to learn Gayageum, the National Kugak Center. You did write a personal letter to him as well. So, that's how much you really wanted to kind of take on this challenge, right?
Well, I had studied in China after I started learning Japanese koto. I studied in China at the Nanjing Academy for the Arts. And so that's when I said, okay, well, they have this because I didn't know the Chinese instrument
Right.
either. Someone in my class, my koto class, wrote guzheng on a piece of paper, and I went to China.
Right.
I want to play this, not quite knowing how it was different or the same. And so then I heard they have it in Korea, and I applied for a Watson Fellowship through IBM. I didn't get it, but
Right,
over the year I had to prepare to get it. Should I have gotten it?
Right.
And one of that was contacting the National Kugak Center. So Kim Jin-hee, who was komungo player in New York, she does a lot of jazz and electronic komungo. She put me in contact with the National Kugak Center and helped me get a contact there. So I did write a letter to the National Kugak Center, and they said, well, you can either go to high school again, and I'd already been twice. So I said, no, I don't think I want to go to high school again, but can I get a teacher through you guys? And they said yes. So then I came in 92. Notewu was in power, and it was quite different than New York, where I was studying Korean.
So yeah, you came to Korea in 1992, as you said, and you didn't know much really going around. But after a while, you did return back to the U.S. and earned your PhD in Gayageum at Harvard.
No, it's not in Gayageum.
In Gayageum, oh okay.
No.
Not in Gayageum, but you did go to Harvard University and you received a PhD.
I got a PhD in East Asian languages and civilization, and my dissertation was about the use of Tang poetry and pansori lyrics as expressed in the genre 가야금 평창.
Oh, okay. So
whatever you just said, yeah.
Wow, that's certainly something that's very unique for a dissertation, even if it is a global school such as Harvard. So after you graduated from Harvard, you came back to Korea, and you've been there ever since. How long have you?
No, I was here from 92 to 94, and then I got into Harvard, and I came back on a Korea Institute grant for the summer, and then I went and finished my master's degree, and then I got into the PhD program, and I came back on a Fulbright fellowship.
Oh, okay, a fellowship, all right.
And then when that ended, I got a Sonam Chedan. This is the Orion junk food brand.
Oh, okay.
But they were the first cement company after the war. So there's Sonam Chedan. So we got to go see the cement factory. That was really interesting. I really enjoyed that.
That being said, your life does seem to be full of like just big events. There's a lot of things that have gone through your life to get where you are now. 33 years of preparation, all these different experiences, and I'm really certainly looking forward to you drawing that on your life graph because it's different to take a look backwards into your life and be like, oh, these are the high points in my life. These are the low points in my life. So you moved all the way from Alaska to Korea, and now you're certainly part of Korea's intangible heritage. I'm looking forward to maybe looking at your life from that perspective, and you as well. Be maybe kind of introspective. It always tends to be. So we're gonna play a song while Jo Se-rin is drawing her life graph. This is going to be very interesting. So the song we're going to listen to is 호랑 수월가, or by Nare, and we will be right back.
저 하늘을 물어채는 범처럼 대산에 날아들어 숨어드는 새처럼 동산을 뛰고 뛰어가는 강아지처럼 온 산에 풍물 막을 내리네. 바람은 지친 끝에 밤에 몸을 뉘네. 별빛은 아득하니 은하수를 내리네. 차가운 밤 하늘에 세상이 젖어가네. 그리워 홀로 타령을 하자. 흘러가라 사랑 사랑아. 덧없이 피고 떨어지는 꽃송아. 애달구나 가라 가라가 눈물에 떨어진 별을 해내. 구름 따라 오랜 곳내 달아 빛이 내 손에 내려다오. 은색 소매 내 곁에 두른 채로 한 번만 타는 입을 죽여다오. 구름 따라 다시 없을 내 달아 모든 손끝에 닿아오. 달빛만이 흘러 바다가 되고 지쳐 전하지 못하는 수월가. 고요한 바다 위로 내 노래가 떠간다. 소리도 부끄러워 숨죽이고 떠간다. 달빛에 젖은 몸을 내놓고서 떠간다. 한낮이 비쳐 오를 때까지 풍성한 가지 끝에 걸쳐있던 연으로 바람에 떨어져서 표류하던 잎으로 물 위에 갈데 없는 낡은 길을 짓다가 그립고 슬퍼 눈을 감으네. 달아 달아 애달픈 달아 피었다 이내 숨어버릴 허상아. 시리구나 세월 세월아. 나 나를 헤면서 현을 뜬네. 구름 따라 오랜 곳내 달아 빛이 내 손에 내려다오.
All right, you guys are listening to and watching Culture Crunch here on Arirang Radio and TV right now. Now, for Creme de la Creme, we are joined by Jo Se-rin, who has been playing the Gayageum for 33 years and finally got certification just recently. Now, I wanted to jump into this because, as you said, you came to Korea and you started learning this instrument, and it's been many, many years. But I'm curious, though, how did your parents think when you were like, oh, I'm moving to Korea to learn a traditional Korean instrument? Like, what was your parents, did they object to it or anything like that?
No, they didn't object at all. Both my grandfathers had fought in the Pacific during World War II, and my dad had fought in the Vietnam War, but he had grown up part of his life in Japan.
Oh, okay.
And off the base too. He grew up off the base. So one of his biggest regrets in life was not learning Japanese. And he made us learn Japanese as kids.
Right.
And he worked for a Japanese company, so we went back and forth to Japan when we were young. And he was pretty excited, when I went to China as well.
Right.
He always said, because we're from Alaska and we're from Southeast Alaska, and Asia is our biggest trading partner, and Japan was really ascendant in the 1980s, that, we're part of the Pacific Rim and we should be focused on Asia, and you should learn all the Asian languages.
Well, I mean, you said that your grandparents and your father, your grandparents participated in the Pacific during the war, and your father was partly raised in Japan. So do you think that maybe they had like an open mind when it came to other cultures, especially your father growing up partly in Japan? So that must have been one of the biggest reasons why he didn't really have a lot of objections, when it came to making it is a unique, and it is a very, it's not something that, you would normally hear, especially from that time in the 80s or 90s.
Well, I wanted to be an ambassador, so there was I wasn't trained to be a gayageum player. But I was interested in Rice Shower and Fairbanks, all these old
So
Cold War people. But he really wanted us to be focused on Asia, so that was no problem. Also, where I'm from in Southeast Alaska, there's no roads. So if you want to compete against the next town, or you have to take a boat for 18 hours, or you have to take an airplane. Right. And so we grew up always going to the next town by ourselves without our parents, and then we stay in the host family with the family of the team. And when the team came to our town, then they stay with us. And so the whole region, which is bigger than Korea, we knew everybody in the state because we were always competing against them, and we met their families and we stayed them. And so we had a lot of experience with dealing with different cultures, even if it's just the difference in family culture. Right. So when I graduated when I was 17, and then immediately didn't want to go to college.
Well, who does? But you know what though? I think though that there's a big while maybe you didn't want to go immediately to college, but you did take on something very unique. And these last 33 years of you playing the gayageum, I'm very curious though to know though, because doing all this time playing the gayageum, you've probably heard a lot of feedback. You've probably heard a lot of things from people watching your performances. But is there anything really memorable, the most memorable thing that you can remember in terms of feedback, or in terms of someone giving you praise or anything like that regarding a performance, or you just playing the gayageum in general?
I don't have something right at my fingertips in my brain. But last night, I'm right now I'm in the middle of grading students, and more and more I find they don't do their homework. Especially the corona crop. They don't do their homework. And so I have one music class, and one of the homework is for them to go to 2 live concerts, because their only relationship to music is with the Black Mirror. Right.
The phone.
So, and they didn't do the homework, of course, because they don't like to go out. They like to watch their Black Mirror. So they hadn't done the homework, and I said, so then I'm gonna do you all a favor. I'm gonna come play a concert in the classroom.
So they can get a taste of like a live performance.
But a real concert. Right. I have a few 실용음악, like the practical music, popular music students from the music department. So I said, you guys are gonna produce it. You're gonna be an MC. You're gonna lay out the mat. You're gonna give me my microphone. You're going to do everything. So I give them, and some of you have to control the audience, make sure everybody comes to the front, make sure they keep their cell phones off, man the door, blah, 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 blah. So we did a real concert, and I invited my drummer from Seoul. He came down, and we did like a real concert. I dressed in hanbok, like it.
Oh, it was like a
It
real
was a
deal,
real
like an actual
concert because
right.
they didn't go to the concert hall. So,
So that like, how did that make you feel when it came to putting on a performance for your
well,
students?
for me, it was a nice practice session. But but I read the feedback for that last night, and the students were so they were so moved because they most of the people that are taking this 국악 class didn't take it because they love 국악.
Right.
They took it because they didn't sign up for another class soon enough, something like that.
Yeah.
So they hadn't really gotten into it, and then their feedback was like, oh, I never thought I would like this at all, but then our teacher played for us, and it was so I was so moved, and it was so different than watching on a video, and it was the first time I heard live music ever, and like from an instrument, and I never thought I would like the 가야금. And then the drummer was playing, and he was 얼씨구 절씨구 주임새, and they were so like, oh, and they came together, and like I didn't even feel like watching my cell phone the whole time, and this was really wonderful.
Right, no, and I'd imagine so because it's an accumulation of your 33 years of playing the 가야금 and being able to show that to your students. So I think that'll be reflected nicely in your life graph. So, so let's go ahead and take a look at your life graph. Please explain the ups and downs of your life graph, because there's quite a few. They continuously go up, but there's quite a few. So please explain your life graph here for us.
Well,
starting from age 0.
From age 0. I really suffered from depression my whole life.
Oh, okay.
So, it was just like you did real ups and real downs. So it was the whole,
the cycle.
Just like this the whole
Right.
time. But in a way, this life graph is not really my life graph, but it's more like a progress graph for studying Sanjo in a way.
Oh, okay. So it's all reflective of Sanjo.
I mean, it's also life is like that too, but with Sanjo, as a foreigner coming from a background in Western music and a little bit of Asian music, that you think you're doing what your teacher's telling you to do, and then you practice really hard and you do a solo at concert or you do something and you I really practiced hard and I got there and you get to the top. And you see, oh, there's another peak in front of me.
Right. Well, life is like a succession. You kind of continuously better yourself. I mean, even when playing an instrument.
So all the time I'm playing 가야금, I think I'm doing what I'm being shown how to play, and I think I am. Like we just listened to my playing from 7 or 8 years ago on Arirang TV, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound as good as. I really practiced for the last 7, 8 years and went through this whole process of, preparing. I was so low and then thinking I practiced so hard and I really got it, and then realizing that I'm just have to go up the next mountain.
Right. Well, because even you were like, oh, that's from when we watched that video earlier. We were like, oh, well, that video is like from 7 or 8 years ago, and you're like, it's because you're looking back and it's from a lower point.
Back,
listening back. It's from a lower point in your career. So when you weren't as experienced. So it's kind of like, oh, we're watching that right now. So your life graph, though, essentially, you're saying is kind of representative of your career with the 가야금, essentially.
I think so. I mean, there were some real low points, but I think that's just true of everybody in life. There's really difficult times, and then you survive them and you keep going.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that when you're looking at your life graph, you have obviously in succession different peaks, but each peak is higher than the last peak. So I'd imagine that
I think it's gonna start going downhill now.
Oh, please!
I'm getting old.
No. You just got your licenses,
so
your
maybe
certification.
that's the top and
no,
down.
all the way but up. But of course. So that's interesting because I think you might be one of the first guests that has come on here for Creme de la Creme and actually drawn your life graph in a way that it is reflective of your career regarding the 가야금 specifically. So that is really interesting.
But I think that's true of whatever you're doing. Also, my my so-called academic career is, a little bit like that. I think it's just true of life. I think it's true.
Well, of course.
Life.
I mean, I'd imagine so. But but that being said, your life is, because you've had so many ups and downs, like in terms of like what you've explained so far, your life has had so many huge events, so many things that are really unique to people, to any one person in general. But to have your life graph reflect specifically career with the Gayageum, though, is certainly, it shows your love, it shows your passion, and it shows your dedication to the craft. So I think that's certainly, that's why I was saying earlier, it's like such an honor to have someone here that, you know, can interview, or I'm interviewing someone that has like that kind of passion for the instrument that they love, being the Gayageum, of course. Yeah, so this is just something that, you know, when it comes to you playing the Gayageum for this long, is there any kind of aspect maybe of, you know, preserving something? Is there something specifically that you want to preserve?
I think preservation gets you into a little bit of trouble when you're talking about a living tradition.
No, oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, the music needs to go with the times.
Of course.
Even if you're like keeping something, you don't want something to die. It still has to be living in order for it to survive.
Of course.
So what I'm learning from my teacher is, and what we're all learning from our teacher is how to make a beautiful sound. And this is really hard. This is really hard because it's super subtle.
Right.
And it takes a while to realize, you know, what to listen for. This is why it's like that.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you think you're doing it and you're not doing
Right.
it. And then you listen back and you're like, oh, I wasn't doing it.
So you're
And
right.
now I am. Then you think you are, and then you're not. So
preserving that sound then is something that you want to say.
and also the genre, because the genre is quite, even though it's coming originally out of the late Joseon dynasty,
Right.
we can think of it in terms of, you know, that's something that was improvisational, and that now, because of the implementation of the national treasure system, the intangible culture as a system, this makes it something that was trying to be preserved. So it's preserved in a sense, in that the music lives inside of someone who's supported by the government. But
So-
through that process, the piece or the genre is been quite organized almost into a piece. If we think about it in a
Right.
Western sense, so
So,
that it's
like-
not
oh,
it's not the scattered.
Right,
Sanjo
right.
means scattered melodies, right?
Right,
It's a
right.
pejorative term that the court musicians use towards the folk musicians, and as it sort of got organized, it became you know, a piece. But that's the foundation for everything else that comes. So
Right.
once you can master that, then you can play new music. You can play whatever else you're going to play.
Yeah.
And then you have this foundation that's really coming out of Korean roots that you can build and
Right.
you know,
So
bloom
you're-
a new flower upon or something.
Right. So you're trying to keep that preserved and keep that alive. So this is the signature question for our Thursday segment, and this is it's a very simple question, and you know, maybe in like one sentence, what does the Gayageum mean to you?
What does the Gayageum mean to me? It's the way that it's the way through which I've tried to understand what art is, what music is, what a musician does, what an artist does. I think you can come through whatever instrument you choose, whatever language, whatever place. I mean, it's
Right.
all sort of the same process. The genre is different. The aesthetic is different. The roots are different, but the process of going through and training to become a
Right.
musician is the same.
So.
And I think that what I was really curious about is what is an artist, what is a musician.
So it
and-
was your sort of your gateway into what music is, what an artist is what you're saying.
Yeah, and because
Okay.
I also studied at the musicology, I was
Right,
interested
right.
in comparing like the sounds and the aesthetics and
Okay.
everything else. But I think, you know, through this, it's a kind of lifestyle, right?
Okay. So
You have to practice every day, so it's
Right.
not just a, you know, it's a way of life.
Okay, so-
actually.
all right. So you had a very introspective look into the playing the Gayageum for 33 years. Congratulations again on your certification. I want to thank you so much for coming out on the show today. It was really a fun time, and it's like I said, once again, it was an honor. So
Thank you so much for
thank
having
you.
me.
No, absolutely. So we're going to be sending Jo Se-rin, Professor Jo Se-rin, off with a song today. You guys will catch me tomorrow on Culture Crunch again. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Thank You by Kwon Sung-kwan, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
서두르지 않기를 흔들리고 물들지 않기를 언제나 너의 그 말처럼 살아갈 수 있을까 아직까지 그대로 불안하고 모자란 나지만 가끔 기댈 수 있는 추억 그게 참 고마워 복잡한 세상에 지치고 무뎌져 어지러워하는 우리들 설레고 벅차던 처음의 한 걸음은 조금씩 더 멀어져 가는데 함께 할 수 있기를 햇살이 비추기를 소리내어 웃고 모두 내려놓기를 한치 앞도 캄캄한 이 먼 길의 어딘가에 소중하게 간직해둔 널 만날 수 있기를 이유도 모른 채 시작해버린 삶 이 머나먼 길 위에서 끝없이 걸어갈